Happy morning, dear students. I'm welcoming you all to this online class. We have finished 4 unit and we are going to start the 5th unit, Organism and Population. In this chapter, we are going to discuss about what is meant by habitat, what are the major abiotic components, adaptation, populations, and population interaction. What is meant by ecology? The study of environment is called as ecology. The study of ecology encompasses different levels of organism, population, community, ecosystem, etc. In ecology, the term population means a group of individuals of any kind of organism. Group of individuals is called as population. Community in the ecological sense includes all the population occupying a given area. The community may be the biotic and the abiotic. Abiotic means non-living community. They function together in the ecosystem. Biome. What is meant by biome? Biome is a term in wide use for a large regional or subcontinental system characterized by major vegetation type. Biome is nothing but a region with a major vegetation type. So, you have to know what is ecology and what is population, community and biome. First we see organism and its environment. Environment is a collective term which includes the different conditions in which an organism lives or is present. The common and influencing factors in any environment are light, temperature, pressure, water, salinity, etc., and they are collectively called as abiotic components. Habitat. Habitat can be considered as the address of the organism. The collection of all the habitat areas of a species constitutes its geographical range. For example, in a xerophytic habitat, the camel is able to use water efficiently and effectively for evaporative cooling through their skin and respiratory system. They excrete highly concentrated urine and can also withstand dehydration up to 25% of the body weight. The hooves and the hump are also suitable adaptation for survival in this dry, sandy environment. In an aquatic media, fish have a wide range of adaptation like fins for locomotion, streamlined body, and the lateral system which act as a sense organ, gills for respiration and air sacs for floating and kidneys for excretion. Then you have to know what is meant by niche. As every organism has its unique habitat, so also it has an ecological niche which includes the physical space occupied by an organism and its functional role in the community. The physical space occupied by an organism and its functional role in the community is called as niche. Charles Elton in 1927 was the first to use the term niche as the functional status of an organism in a community. Species that occupy the same niche in different geographical regions are termed as ecological equivalents. Many animals share the same general habitat, but their niches are well defined. The lifestyle of an individual population in the habitat is known as its niche. For example, crickets and grasshoppers. Crickets and grasshoppers are nothing but insects. They are closely related insects that live in the same habitat, yet they occupy different ecological niches. The grasshopper is very active during the daylight. It can usually found on a plant feeding on the plant parts. Although the cricket lives in the same field, it's quite different. During the day, the cricket hides under the leaves or a plant debris and is usually inactive. It is active at a night time. That means we can call it as nocturnal. The cricket and the grasshopper do not interfere with each other's activities in the same habitat. Thus, niche of an organism can be defined as the total position and the function of an individual in its environment. So this is the best example for a niche, the cricket and grasshoppers which is present in the same field. In a pond ecosystem, where Catla, Rohu, Mirgal are present. The ecological niche of the Catla is the surface feeder. Catla lives on the surface. Rohu is a column feeder and Mirgal is a bottom feeder. The mouths are designed to suit their niche and hence they have different positions and functions in their habitat. So these are some of the examples for this niche. Next we move on to the major abiotic components or the factors. The abiotic factors includes temperature. What is meant by temperature? Degree of hotness or coldness is an essential and variable factor in any environment. Heat influences all forms of life by affecting many vital activities of organisms like metabolism, behavior, reproduction, etc. The minimum and maximum temperature of an environment regulates the survival of a cell. In many organisms, determination of sex and sex ratio, maturation of gonads, gametogenesis, and reproduction is influenced by temperature. In certain environments, the size and coloration of animals are influenced by temperature. Birds and mammals attain greater body size in colder region than the warmer region. This is called as the Bergmann's rule. Bergmann's rule states that birds and mammals attain greater body size in colder region than warmer region. Warm-blooded animals living in the colder climates tend to have shorter limbs, ears, and other appendages when compared to the members of the same species in the warmer climates. This is Allen's rule. In some aquatic environments, an inverse relationship between the water temperature and fish meristic characters is observed. Lower the temperature, more the vertebrae. This is the Jordan's rule. Based on different characters, there are different rules: Bergmann's rule, Allen's rules, and Jordan rule. So you have to know that. Okay, temperature influence distribution of an organism. Adaptation to temperature is essential for survival of a species. Organisms which can survive a wide range of temperature are referred to as eurytherms. The ability to survive in a wide range of temperature increases a species' ability to inhabit other areas is an advantage for natural selection. Those organisms which can tolerate only narrow range of temperature are called as strenotherms. Example for eurytherms is cat, dog, tiger, whereas example for strenotherms is fish, frog, lizard, and snakes. In case of extreme temperatures, organisms have adapted by forming heat-resistant spore cysts such as entamoeba, antifreeze proteins such as Arctic fishes. Hibernation, that is winter sleep, and estivation, that is summer sleep, are useful adaptation to overcome the extreme winters and summers. Next is the light. It is an important and essential abiotic factor which ecologically helps the quantity, intensity, and the duration of light, which is considered significant for organisms. Light influences growth, pigmentation, migration, and reproduction. Light is essential for vision. This is proved by the poorly developed or absence of eyes in cave-dwelling organisms. Diapause is also influenced by light in animals. Gonads of birds become more active with increasing light in summer. Light influences the locomotion and movement of lower animals. Next is the water. Life on earth began in the seas, and water is essential for survival of all forms of life. There are two types of water on earth. One is the fresh water and another one is the salt water. Based on the dissolved salts, water can be hard water or soft water. If the hardness can be removed by boiling, it is temporary hard water, and if boiling does not help, it is called permanent hard water. What are the properties of water? Water is one of the main agents in pedogenesis. Pedogenesis is nothing but soil formation. It is a medium for several different ecosystems. It is present on moisture in the atmosphere and the outer layers of the lithosphere and is uneven in distribution on earth. Water is heavier than air and imparts greater buoyancy to the aquatic medium. Water has high heat capacity and latent heat, due to which it can withhold large amounts of heat. Water freezes 0 degrees centigrade, it contracts. The maximum density of liquid water occurs at 4 degrees centigrade. Water is physically unique because it is less dense as a solid than as a liquid. Water is considered as a universal solvent. It is the main medium by which the chemical constituents are transported from abiotic component to the living component of an ecosystem. Water has high surface tension. This allows the pollen, dust, and even water striders to remain at the surface of the water body even though they are denser than water. So these are the essential properties of water. Next we move on to soil. Soil. Soil is a mixture of organic matter, minerals, gases, liquid, and organisms that together support life. The soil zone is known as pedosphere. Soil is formed from rocks, which are the plant materials of soil, by weathering, and it is called as embryonic soil, that is called as pedogenesis. It has four main functions. It helps in the medium for plant growth. It means for water storage and purification. It acts as a modifier of Earth's atmosphere. It helps in habitat for many organisms, which in turn modify the soil. There are different properties of soil. First one is the texture. Texture of soil is determined by the size of the soil particle. The types of soil include sand, silt, and clay on the basis of their different sizes. Second one is the porosity. The space between the soil particles in a given volume of soil is called pore spaces. The space between the soil particles. The percentage of soil volume occupied by pore space or by the interstitial spaces is called porosity of the soil. Permeability of soil. The characteristics of soil that determines the movement of water through pore spaces is known as soil permeability. How the water enter into these pore spaces. Soil permeability is directly dependent on the pore size. Water holding capacity of the soil is inversely dependent on the soil porosity. Soil temperature. Soil gets its heat energy from the solar radiation, decomposing organic matter and heat from the interior of the earth. Soil water. In soil, water is not only important as a solvent and transporting agent but also maintains soil texture, arrangement, and compactness of soil particles, making the soil habitable for plants and animals. So these are the important functions of or properties of soil. First one is texture, second one is porosity, third one is permeability, fourth one is soil temperature, and fifth one is soil water. Next is the wind. Wind is the natural movement of air of any velocity from a particular direction. The two main causes of differential heating between the equator and the poles and the rotation of a planet, that is called as Coriolis effect. Wind helps to transport pollen grains, seeds, and even flight of birds. While it is the source of wind energy, it also causes erosion. Wind speed is measured with an anemometer. Next is humidity. Moisture in the form of invisible vapor in the atmosphere is called as humidity, which is generally expressed in terms of absolute humidity or relative humidity. Absolute humidity is the total mass of water vapor present in a given volume of air. It does not take part or it does not take temperature into consideration. Relative humidity is the amount of water vapor present in air and is expressed as a percentage of the amount needed for saturation at the same temperature. Humidity is measured with a hygrometer. Next is altitude. This is a factor which is mainly helps in the elevation or the gradient, and it affects temperature and precipitation in an ecosystem. Altitude means is nothing but elevation. For example, mountain. As altitude increases, temperature and density of oxygen decreases. Higher altitudes usually receive snow instead of rain because of low temperature. Animals are known to modify the response to environmental changes, that means the stress, in reasonably short time spans. This is known as acclimatization. What is acclimatization? Animals are known to modify their response to environmental changes in reasonably short time span. This is called as acclimatization. This is observed when people who have moved from the plains to higher altitude show enhanced RBC count within a few days of settling in their new habitat. This helps them to cope up with the atmospheric oxygen and higher oxygen demand. If a person moves towards the altitude, இப்போ ஒருத்தர் மலை மேலே ஏறுறாருன்னா அவருக்கு வந்து ஆக்சிஜன் லெவல் கம்மியாகும். அப்போ ஆர்பிசி ப்ரொடக்ஷன் வந்து அதிகமாகுது இல்லையா? ஸோ தட் இஸ் கால்ட் ஆஸ் acclimatization. Population. Population is defined as any group of organisms of the same species which can interbreed among themselves. A population has various properties like population density, natality, that means birth rate, mortality, that means death rate. What is population density? Population density is the total number of that species within a natural habitat. The size of the population can be measured in several ways, including abundance, numerical density, and biomass density. Next is natality. It is nothing but birth rate. Population increases because of birth rate. Natality is equivalent to an expression of the production of new individual in the population by birth, hatching, germination, or by fission. The two main aspects of reproduction, namely fertility and fecundity, plays a significant role in population. So birth rate is equal to number of birth per unit time divided by the average population. Next is mortality. Mortality is the population decline factor and it is opposite to the natality. Mortality can be expressed as a loss of individual in unit time or death rate. Death rate is equal to number of death per unit time by average population. The rate of mortality is determined by density. Mortality is high at high density because of hazards of overcrowding, increased predation, and spread of diseases. Next is the population dispersion. Population have a tendency to disperse or spread out in all directions until some barriers are reached. This is observed by the migration of individuals into or out of the population. What is meant by migration? Migration is a peculiar and unique kind of mass population movement from one place to another and back. For example, Siberian cranes migrate from Siberia to Vedandangal in Tamil Nadu and return back in spring. Some fishes known as migratory fishes which move from sea to fresh water. They are called as anadromous migration, example salmon. And some fishes move from fresh water to sea water. It is called as catadromous fishes, example eel. And what is emigration? Under natural condition, emigration usually occur when there is overcrowding. This is regarded as adaptive behavior that regulates the population in a particular site and prevents overexploitation of the habitat. Next is immigration. It leads to the rise in population levels. If the population increases beyond the carrying capacity, it can result in increased mortality among the immigrants or decreased reproductive capacity of the individual. Next, we move on to population interaction. Organisms belonging to different populations interact for food, shelter, mating, and for other necessities. Interaction may be intraspecific, that means within the members of the same species, and interspecific among organisms of different species. Intraspecific association is observed for all livelihood processes like feeding, territoriality, breeding, and protection. So it may be positive, negative, or it may be neutral. So some of the interactions are amensalism. What is meant by amensalism? This is an ecological interaction in which an individual species harm another without obtaining benefit. One individual will harm the other individual without obtaining the benefit. Large powerful animals harm the weak animals. Example, animals destroyed at the feet of elephant. Second one is mutualism. In this type of interaction, both species benefit from the interaction. So both are benefited, mutually benefited. So they are called as mutualism. Example, certain bacteria which is present in the ceca and the intestine of herbivores, which helps in the digestion of cellulose. In return, the host provides suitable environment for the growth of the bacteria. Other examples are small birds cleaning the teeth of crocodiles. Here the birds get food from and the teeth of the crocodile is also cleaned. Next one is commensalism. This is a type of interaction in which two or more species are mutually associated in activities centering on food, and one species at least derives benefit from the association while the other associates are neither benefited nor harmed. Commensalismna ஒன்று பெனிஃபிட்டாக இருக்கும், இன்னொன்றுக்கு பெனிஃபிட் இருக்கும் இல்லைனா இருக்காது. So the concept of commensalism has been broadened in recent years. Example for this is barnacles that is attached to the whales travel thousands of miles collecting and filtering food from the moving water. The whales are not affected by the barnacles. Next one is competition. In this type of interaction, the individuals of a species of different for limited availability of food, water, nesting space, cover, mates, and other resources. When resources are in more than adequate to meet the demands of the organism seeking them, competition does not occur. But when inadequate to satisfy the need of the organism seeking them, the weakest, least adapted, or the least aggressive individual are often forced to face challenges. This phenomenon is known as competition. The degree of competition may be intraspecific competition or between the species. Next one is the parasitism. It is a kind of harmful interaction between two species wherein one species is the parasite and other is the host. The parasite benefits at the expense of this host. So this you might have studied in your lower classes. And next is the predation. Predation is a form of interaction where one animal kills another animal for food. Like parasitism, predation is important in community dynamics, but both differ in the point that predator tends to be larger than its prey and it catches its prey from without, while a parasite is smaller than its host and consume it from within. So these are some of the population interaction between animals. So that's all we finished this lesson. Go through this lesson. If you have any doubt, feel free to ask me. Thank you.